Awesome. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a gorgeous Thursday afternoon in Pennsylvania. I want to thank you for joining me. Over the past couple months, I have really honed in on self-empowerment, not necessarily self-help. It's a thing that I didn't like that topic, but really developing your power within yourself. And I joined Clubhouse a couple months ago and started taking notes all the time. And I came across this gentleman, Sam Silverstein, who really made me think, which I love doing now. Most of the time I'm doing. Sam made me take a step back, and I have been forever changed. So with that, I want to introduce you to one of my friends and colleagues. His name is Sam Silverstein. He is an author, a coach, a motivational and international speaker. Sam, welcome.
Hey, Stacy, it is wonderful to be here today.
Yes, and to finally see each other face to face instead of Clubhouse.
This is great. I love this. And
it is.
I love your digs that you've got going there.
Thank you. And I'll have you know, I put lipstick on for you today.
Oh, my goodness.
Big deal.
Oh, wow.
Sam, we had met a couple weeks ago or a couple months ago, and you joined our room. It's called Success Achievers Club. It's the breakfast club, and it's every day in Eastern Standard Time, 7 to 8 a.m. It's most of the time it's 7 to 8:30. And we had a great core group. And once you joined, you added an element that really just elevated our room. And I just want to thank you for joining the room and for sharing your knowledge. It's been incredible.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's been an honor to be included. It's really great when people can come together and discuss a topic and something that's important in our lives and take it deeper and have a conversation, and that we all have the opportunity to grow from, because we come from different perspectives, we come from different experiences, we're all on different journeys. And when you intersect all this and bring it all together, it gets really exciting. So I've really enjoyed the conversation. I'll tell you, that first 30 minutes, where there's 6 of us that are each sharing our take on the topic of the day before we even go to the room. That first 30 minutes is like a master class. I know you're taking notes. I'm taking notes. I think it's incredible.
It's wild. Like, feel like I'm back in school, Sam. Like, if you see all the pages, like, I'm better than school, because at Villanova, if I went to class, which I apologize, that was a huge mistake in my life. But once I went, I never took notes like this. And I've paid for coaching thousands of dollars. And I told Don, and I said it in our room, I have gotten more from our room than I have in my entire life. I feel like I'm totally reborn. And it's all thanks to people like you in the room that share your knowledge. Like, you do this for a living. I want to tell people about the books. You've written 9 to 11 books, and I love this. So out of all the ones that you sent, I chose this one first, and it's No Matter What. And it's really, I believe, and you will explain to us what your basis, your foundation for core beliefs are, and accountability. Can you talk to us about this a little bit in the topic, and why you've been drawn, your life now is helping corporations and people and teams about accountability? What is your take on accountability?
Well, what I've discovered, I've been on this journey for quite a while. And what I've discovered, in my opinion, everything we've been taught about accountability is wrong. Accountability is not a way of doing. Accountability is a way of thinking. And specifically, it's how we think about our people. Accountability isn't leadership trying to manipulate their people to do more. Accountability is leadership creating an environment in the organization, a culture that inspires people to want to be their best and to be accountable. And when leaders take on that responsibility, when they start to see their people differently, when they treat them differently, when they commit to them differently, then they get a different result. And that's where accountability can really flourish and really flow.
I do want to touch on this real quick. Your preface, a lot of times when authors write a preface, it's fluff. It's something to go by to get to the first page of the book, to really get to the meat. You have written the best preface I have ever read in any book. And you dive into accountability and the 10 commitments. And you just touched on my favorite part of the book, and it's in the preface. And it's this: accountability is not a way of doing, it's a way of thinking. And when we stop focusing on doing and we turn our attention to what we are thinking, then the real transformation occurs. We grow beyond the way we currently think, and a different outcome is produced in our life, and as a result in our organizations. That is earth. I love it. Like I can't even put into words right now, but that's meant more to me than for me, it's the core of that book. It's not a way of doing. Anyone can do things and have actions. You have to have intentionality. You have to truly be thinking about it. And for me, I run 1,000,000 miles an hour. My team makes fun of me. They're like, there she goes. You're like a hurricane. You're always doing things. And once I met you, I did take a step back, and it's made a huge difference for me in my life as a mom, as a realtor, as a friend, as a wife. And I'm getting really great feedback now as a result of it. So thank you. So in terms of no matter what, your 10 commitments, can you talk about either what your favorite commitment is or what the basis for what we should have as individuals, whether we're working or not, out of those 10 commitments?
Okay, so let's look at it. Let's set just a little bit of framework. Accountability is keeping your commitments to people. That's how I define it. It's keeping your commitments to people. But what we don't go into in a lot of depth in that book, actually, because every time I write a book, it seems like it's a discovery for me. And I think this is post no matter what. And I delineate between tactical commitments and relational commitments. The tactical commitments are transactional. Relational commitments connect people together. So an agreement to be here at a certain time is a tactical commitment. An agreement to get the report done is a tactical commitment. Agreement to, if I say I'm going to take out the trash, that's tactical. Man, if you're not doing the things in your life that you're supposed to be doing or that you say you're going to do, there's a problem there. If someone works for you and you've trained them and they have the resources, the authority, and the responsibility, and they're not doing it, why are they still in your organization? So you're responsible for things, but you're accountable to people. So the accountability is between people. And that's why the 10 commitments in that book, no matter what, are so critical. They're all relational commitments. They're all commitments that bind people together. And so when you ask me which is my favorite, I can't do that. Now I'll tell you why. And I'm not trying to sidestep your question like a slick politician. They're all important. I believe that I'm supposed to be stepping out all of those commitments in my life and my relationships with people. So they're all critical. They're all critical. Now, where's the starting point? Well, we could start with just I commit to live the values, because I say that I have a set of values, and do I live those values? And in my organization, is everyone asked to live the same values the same way? That's a great starting point.
It is. And you're making me think of accountability and not being beholden to things, but to people. And you are one of the highest forms of that. And by that, I mean, I know when I ask, if I say, oh, would you do an interview with me at 1:00, that it will happen. And with this book, no matter what, that is the highest level of accountability and commitment that you could have to a person, meaning your word is your bond. When you say that you're going to do something, you're not just throwing it out there, you are making a declaration on that accountability. How can people, what is a good basis to start? I know that you said in your book, the one thing that scared you was you were getting ready to give this speech, you were at dinner time, and one of the men had said, what if, and it scared the crap out of you. He said, what if you don't know what your values are? Yeah, and you still think about that.
Yeah. I know he specifically, he said, it was the night before a program. I was speaking in the morning to a group of executives. They all owned their own organization. It was, I don't know, maybe 250, 300 people. The night before, the leadership team from this organization got together for dinner, and I was invited, and we were talking, just sort of previewing this. And he said, so what happens if you don't know what you believe? And I've never been asked that question before. I've never thought of it from that standpoint. It hadn't occurred to me that that could be a problem. And the reality was it's a huge problem. And the reality is a lot of times that we have uncertainty in our life about what we believe about certain things. Maybe not all things, but in certain areas. Now so I gave him an answer, but really I think it was a very short answer. Today, if I'm asked that question, the simple answer is this. It's critical that we take time and step back and identify in our life what it is that we believe. What do we believe? But period. How do those beliefs show up in our life? Beliefs are inward facing, values are outward facing. What do we believe about ourselves? What do we believe around the people around us? What do we believe about the world that we live in, the city that we're part of? What do we believe about our business? What do we believe about what's possible? What do we believe about what's not possible? All those questions and more are critical, because action follows belief. And it's only, a lot of times you see people say, well, this isn't working for me. You see a business, they say, well, this isn't working. We got to change what we're doing. No, you have to change what you believe. It's only when you change what you believe that you will change what you do on a permanent basis. And so that's why what we believe is critical to know. I had an assistant, we've talked about her before, Stacy, Sharon, that used to drive me nuts. Every time I make a decision, she'd stop and go, Sam, now, do you really believe that? And I'm like, I just made the decision to do this. Why are you asking me that? And it took me a while to figure out why. And that's because that sometimes I would start down a course, down a road, that I didn't stick with it. And the reason I wasn't sticking with it is because I really didn't believe in my heart that's what I should be doing. The alignment wasn't there. And so we really need to know what it is that we believe, because then we know which beliefs are working for us and which ones are not. We need to know what we believe about our unique purpose. We need to know what we believe our mission is, because it's with that clarity that then we make decisions with intentionality. We can implement, we can get the results we want. We don't start on a project and then not finish it, because the reality is the project might have been connected to a fad in society or to someone else's dream, and not connect to our unique purpose and our mission.
It's such a simple question, but it's so deep, and it requires us to take a step back and write down and think. And you can't run around doing stuff and think. Like, you literally have to commit to this.
Well,
and
exactly.
So, what do I believe in? That's such a deep question. What do I believe in? I don't know. So you literally have to take pen to paper. For me, I do. I love doing it now. And find out what that belief is, because I think people will be surprised at what they write down and what they really think. And that is the basis.
It is so powerful. It's so powerful that the last book that's come out that I've written, that you have a copy of, Pivot.
I don't know. Questions. Oh, it's not the Lost Kid. It's not that one. It's not the Accountability Circle.
No,
it's not.
No.
Hold on, Sam.
Keep going. No, you're not there yet. No, you're still not there.
My husband has Pivot. He chose that. He has it. It's on our nightstand.
That's funny. But a big section of that book is focused just on what do you believe, because it's so important. And what does that mean to you, and how do you live your life by those beliefs? And have you identified the source of your beliefs? And, your source of your beliefs could be some sort of traditional writing like the Torah, the Bible, the Quran. It could be the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It could be Aunt Agnes, Uncle Fred. I don't care, but you need to know what it is, because if we don't have that clarity in our life, how do we make consistent decisions? How do we make those commitments that we're supposed to be making to and with people based on what those beliefs are? So you asked me the question. Yeah, it was a crazy situation when he asked that. And I realized that he was making decisions in his business and his life, and he didn't have the clarity he needed to make consistently great decisions. So it was a pivotal moment for him and for me in that moment, realizing that I needed to find more clarity.
I love that. And that has made all the difference for me as a person who's someone of action, and I'll figure the stuff out later. The ability to now think like a light bulb has gone. I feel like a totally different person. It has changed my life. I want to go to Brian Busby had just said a quote that I wanted to say. He wrote in, action follows belief. Exactly what you said, Sam. I like that. Having the right views and perspective leads to the right actions. Think first, then act. Doing things the other way around rarely leads to positive results. And that is, now we're going to stack a little bit and talk about living in truth, or are we doing things now that we have the belief? Now your next chapter was talking about truth. Now, are these things true? Are they leading you in the right direction? Because if they're not, what happens?
Well, if you're not going in the right direction, you're going in the wrong direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and one
of
of those things. What
My
did you
point
say?
is, if it's not good, if the intentions aren't there and it's not good and you're not living in truth, what your truth is, it ends. It quickly dissipates.
And that's not a good place to be, is it?
No, it's horrible, but it does allow you to pivot and get back on the right track. I do want to talk about Sharon for a second.
Okay.
You both spent 3 years banging your heads, going like this. It took you 3 years to communicate. What kept you going during that time to stick it out?
Yeah, we worked together for 5 years, and it took us 3 years to figure out how to do it, which probably should be in the Guinness World Book of Records. I think it came down to, we both believed that we were supposed to be together. We both believed that we were supposed to be doing this together. We both believed we were supposed to be having these conversations. And we believed it for the same reasons. And so that's what kept driving us. She believed that she was supposed to be a part of what was going on in my world. I believed she was supposed to be a part of the conversation that I was having. And so, since that's what I believed, that compelled me to move forward, to stay with it, to try and figure it out. It was the most unusual thing I've ever experienced. I mean, we fought like, there was good times. Don't get me wrong. We fought like crazy those first 3 years. I mean, it was wild. But you need to understand that for 5 years, 4 hours a day, every day, 5 days a week, we did nothing but talk about accountability and discuss how it shows up in people's lives and what it is, and how it shows up in a business and what drives it in an organization. And so what you're talking about is 10,000 hours discussing a topic. And through that time, I wrote a couple of books, and I'm out speaking and doing whatever, what I'm doing. But the growth that came through that relationship was just enormous, all because I believed that she was in my life for a reason, and I'm supposed to listen. And that's what I did. And she helped me in numerous ways. And there's been some significant things in her life that I'd like to think, a really huge positive impact on. And I was supposed to be there for her for certain things. And it's just been a great relationship. Now, while she's not an employee of mine anymore, we still have an amazing relationship. We still talk all the time.
Well, it's incredible because your foundation was belief, and you both had that core belief. If one kind of faltered or teetered, it would never have worked out. I mean, to be able to engage with someone for 3 years in what you might think was an act of futility, it wasn't, because you both believed you had the same thing. She believed in you and your message, and she held you accountable. I want to ask you this selfishly. When you go to these corporations, and I'm sure you see it in many industries, there's companies that have been around for decades and they're very successful. And now with COVID, now with the cloud, now with everything being virtual, some of these old companies and maybe old ways of thinking are dying off. And you have these other companies like Uber, Peloton, Expedia. I mean, people are buying cars off their phone now. They haven't even driven it, and they're doing this.
I bought my last car on my phone.
Did you?
Oh my gosh. Okay. You know me, I'm going to give it, I want to be totally truthful. I bought it on my iPad.
Oh, okay. Your iPad as opposed to your phone. What? You didn't drive it, right? You didn't go to the place.
I had not driven it. Nope, it wasn't even available to drive. And I literally bought it in an app, ordered it, put the deposit on it, and waited and confirmed that I was ready to pick it up when it showed up, and then went down and got the car.
So, okay, so now knowing technology in every industry, whether it's travel, whether it's car buying, whether it's exercise, real estate now is the same way. When you talk to these corporations and they're like, "Hey, Sam, we want to hire you. There's something that's not going right." What are you seeing as the death of some of these old corporations that may not be pivoting or changing? Do you see it fairly quickly? How do you diagnose it, or how do you help these companies move into this century? Really?
So that's a great question. And you use the word pivot in there. And by the way, the book Pivot is not about pivoting what you do, it's pivoting or changing how you think. And
Yep.
so, exactly. And so, organizations that aren't changing the way they think are in trouble. The organizations that I've seen that have fared the best during the pandemic were the ones that had it figured out ahead of time. And if they weren't building this really special workplace culture that inspired people to want to be their best and want to be accountable, and when the pandemic came, they struggled, because now what happened is people were working from home. You don't have the contact, you don't have the communication at the same level, and every blemish in the culture and in relationships became blown up. It was like looking at skin under a magnifying lens. You see every imperfection. And so it's really the organizations that have established their values and have created an amazing set of values. And it's not just about having amazing values, you have to have an amazing set. And there are guidelines for doing that. We know what they are. We help organizations through that. The organizations that have figured that out are thriving, and the ones that aren't thriving to the same degree. But I have to add this on, Stacy, and this is critical. There are a lot of organizations that haven't created an environment that prioritizes accountability, and they make money. And that's because you can make money doing it the wrong way. You can be successful not treating people properly. You can, and just because you think you're doing it the right way doesn't mean you're doing it the right way. But everything that I've written about and everything that I've discovered, that I've shared with leaders of organizations and of governments, is that if you're doing this through the lens of accountability, and if you're creating a place that attracts the best and keeps the best, then what happens is long-term sustainability goes up, long-term profits go up because long-term engagement goes up, long-term productivity goes up. You will do better. The challenge that we face in business today is people succeed in spite of themselves, and so they don't realize how good it could truly be.
That's incredible. I didn't even think of that. That yes, you can be successful in a certain way and make money, but it's almost like, how do you tell people that, by the way, I can help your business? I know you're killing it, but now amplify it like times 10 or 100 when people think that they know what they're doing is the right way.
Yeah. So there was a recent survey that came out that said that on a global basis, 86% of all companies do not have a culture that inspires ethics. Now, you can just let that settle for a minute over you. 86% of all companies. The organizations that I work with are the ones that are already getting it right to a certain degree. They're the organizations where the leaders are possessed to be better, and that they don't fall into the trap of thinking they have all the answers. I don't care how successful they are. Just because we're successful, that is not an indicator that we're smart, that we have all the answers, or that we have it figured out. It's only an indicator that we've been able to make money. That's it. There could be a better way to make money. There could be a way to make more money that we might not know about. And so those leaders that their minds are closed to that, they'll never hire me. They never do. The companies that need me the most never show up at my door. The companies, I just started doing a year-long project with an organization in Saudi Arabia. Let me tell you, the leader of this organization is amazing. And he's got an amazing organization. He brought me in to help him make it better. The reason he has an amazing organization is because he's been working on it already. So I've stopped really trying to focus on and find those organizations that need me really bad, because the reason they need me really bad is they're not open to how amazing they could really be. And so it's the ones that are already on the right path. Those are the ones that'll bring me in. Those are the ones that'll listen with an open mind, and those are the ones that we can help the most.
You just nailed it. So it's the leadership when they are open-minded and when they say, I don't know everything. I want to be the best. I want to continue growing. And you see that throughout the world with the top entrepreneurs. They get it. It's almost as if you're preaching to the choir. They understand that. They want to keep on growing.
And that's the scary part for me, because I feel like, oh my gosh, these guys are amazing. Why do they don't need me. They know as much as I know. No, they're not looking to totally rewrite everything. They want to tweak it.
Yeah.
If they get one thing that can make a difference, they can turn one thing into millions of dollars. I came off the stage of a multinational retail organization, major retail organization. If I told you the name, you would know. There's probably one within a few miles of you. And after I came off the stage, the leader came up to me and he says, "Wow, that was a great program. Thank you." He patted me on the back and he said, "I'm sure glad we do all those things." Now, I realized in the moment that he missed it, because two things. One, I'd done my due diligence and I knew they weren't doing all those things. But even if he was, you shouldn't. I'm glad we're doing all these things. We're done. No. How can we do them better? Which one? Sam, have you studied my organization at all? In preparing for your speech and what you learned about my organization, is there one area you think we could be better at or that we should focus on? Where should we start? What should be the next thing that we do? Those are the questions that those leaders ask that are truly creating amazing places. And those are the places that amazing people want to be associated with. So if you want to build a great team, you have to build a great place that attracts that team. Every time a leader says, "Oh, I can't afford to fire someone, unemployment is low." Well, I know they haven't built a great organization because they're not attracting those great.
Well, I mean, to speak to what you just said, that's like Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, anyone that is truly the best in sports or anything else, like saying Michael Jordan saying, "I'm good. I don't need to get any better. I was already doing those things, Sam." Or Tiger Woods switching up his swing. Like, are you kidding me? We don't have all the answers. We are constantly, as humans, individuals, companies, and corporations changing. I love being a leader, and I will say that you've helped me become accountable to myself first, and then as a result to others. And that piece of admitting that you don't know everything, that there's always room for improvement, that is what's helping me as a leader for my organization. I always want to learn. I'm asking, "Hey, are you happy with this? What would you like to do?" Because it's not all about me. This is not a monarchy. This is up for debate. This is give me your opinion. But also, once you come into the arena with me, you better be able to. I'm not going to ask someone to do what I have never done. But what I will say is, here are my standards. Here's what my expectations are as a leader. But for me, I'm constantly changing. It's never the same day for me as a leader. And the accountability really starts in that morning in Clubhouse. That has been my most consistent action of the day. And yes, I do other things certain times of the day, and I'll drink a lot of water. I'll do other things, lead generation, things like that. But that day starts in that Clubhouse room with people that are like-minded. And what is the phrase that Tony likes to say a lot? It's like you are the five people that you are the medium of the five people that you surround yourself.
Jim Rohn quote: "You are the total of the five people you associate with,"
which is true. And I love the people that we hang out with in that room because it's elevated me. It's made me question myself, and I'm
going to put a qualifier on that, though.
What's a qualifier? I'm just kidding.
No, and that is this. It's not just about finding people that make a lot of money. It's not just about finding people that have achieved what appears to be success as measured in numbers. you can spend time with someone on the street and have a conversation with them. And if you respect them and understand that they have a story, that they've been on a journey that's taken them to where they are, we can learn from those people. And so I just think it's important. The thing about that quote that sometimes can be misleading is that we have to go out and find people that are making a lot of money and hang out with them. There's nothing wrong with that. But if we're hanging out with a certain group of people and then we're excluding other people and we're not creating an environment of diversity in our life, then we're going to be depriving ourselves of a richness that allows us to grow to become the best that we can be. And so I think we have to open our minds to all the people around us because there's opportunity to learn from all people. It's just a matter of what is it that you're trying to learn. So if I'm trying to learn about real estate, Stacy, your phone's going to ring. But if I'm trying to learn about downhill skiing, it could be you, but it might be someone else. Okay, so I think that's what's important. Also, making sure that even though we're surrounding ourselves with people that we feel that we can grow with, it's also recognizing that everyone brings something to the table. And when we start seeing that in people, we build our organization differently. When we start looking for that in people, we build our organization differently. And that's when you get a high performance, highly accountable organization.
I couldn't agree more. And I am all about quality, not quantity. There are certain brokerages that they need to get a certain amount of people in their door, in their office, and it's a numbers game for them. I want to attract people who are like-minded, but also add a different element, any richness to our organization. I don't want everybody that's going to think like me. I'd like other people that may be more analytical or more tactical. So I like that you
said it's the values. We
Yes.
just need to connect on the values. We don't have to agree that the wall should be painted pink or blue or green or yellow. We just need to connect on the values. That's what it's all about.
You said it all when you said that. I love talking to you because it's so true. It is about the values. It is how do we feel like, what are our morals? What are our ethics? I've done this for 22 years. I know how to sell a house. I now have the ability to work with people that I want to work with, that I feel like share our values. They may think differently about the process, but yes, you just nailed it. I love that. It is about the values and the ethics. And we
come back and talk about values sometime then and go deep in that subject.
I love that. Let's talk about, I want to end with your company and your contact information. If people want to sign up, do you do one-on-one coaching? Could you come out to Pennsylvania and talk to our team or events, like all that good stuff? Please tell us about you.
Okay, so first of all, for everyone that's watching on your live stream, if you want to take a quick assessment on where you stand on these 10 commitments of accountability from the book, no matter what, you can go to amiaccountable.com. It's free. It's an accountability assessment that actually measures those 10 relational commitments in each of us. And it'll take you 2 minutes and it'll give you great insights. I can be reached at samsilverstein.com or beaccountable.com. And I love speaking at events. I love speaking to organizations, small or annual conferences, working with leadership teams at taking what it is that I talk about, which is accountability, and putting it into action. And so feel free to hit my website, reach out to me. And if you send an email to hello@samsilverstein.com, it will end up getting to.
I love that. And I'm going to have everybody on my team do miaccountable.com. And then
it's AMI Accountable.
Yes. AM. You can't assume with people, especially.
I grew up in the South, so sometimes people's ears don't line up with my mouth just the way that the words come out.
So there's MI Accountable, AMIaccountable.com, and beaccountable.com as well. And Sam, you are lovely. Every time I talk to you, I leave feeling better about myself and really how to approach life. So I appreciate you. And thank you for your time. I will follow up with one about values. And why don't just real quick, because I want to talk about your company again. What are some companies that you've worked with in the past that you could tell people about, and why? You did say something. So you and Sharon had worked together for 5 years and spent 10,000 hours. What you did not talk about was the 25 years leading up to that where you had studied accountability. So it's not just the 5 years, it's all that history behind that. So you're beyond. Like, you are the guru of accountability, I would say.
Well, I appreciate that. I've been called a lot of things around accountability, so I'll make a note of that one. But yes, we've case studied a lot of organizations, and we've helped leaders transform their organization. So whether it's a small organization of 6, 20, 30 people, or an organization of 17,000 people, or an organization of 175, it doesn't really matter. The principles are the same, and it's just about reaching your people. So I love having those conversations with leaders, helping them evolve their team, evolve their culture, and creating a high performance organization through the lens of accountability. So that's what we do.
And no one does it better than you. So I would like to thank you again. And everybody, join Clubhouse, join Sam and I Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. until 8:30, an hour and a half. I will tell you, it has changed my life. Nothing to do with work, but really helped create my basis, challenged me to think in a way that I never thought before. So you can meet Sam in our room. It is the Success Breakfast Club. It's the Success Achievers Breakfast Club. You're definitely going to learn something. I write 5 to 10 pages of notes every day. Go on Sam's website, beaccountable.com. Check him out, see what he is about and how he can help you. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.